Hey guys, what's going on? It is I, Blue Dream 47 here, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the current meta and the current state of DBD and how it is really poorly affecting the lower tier killers, and in a lot of cases making it unplayable for those killers, for the C tier and the D tier killers. So, since the Singularity chapter was released,
it wasn't programmed to harm the crew.
There was a new perk that was introduced for survivors that was called Made for This. Made for This is a perk that grants you 3% increased movement speed when injured, and on top of that, when completing a healing action on a survivor, you get 10 seconds of endurance, of which you are invulnerable, and any hit will put you into deep wounds rather than the dying state. So this is a really good perk. Now 3% might not sound like much. If you've been playing the game, you know that this is quite substantial, right? Like this is quite substantial. And in my lobbies, especially with Pyramid Head, which sits at the highest level of MMR, it's pretty much all I see. Just about every single game of Pyramid Head, there is at least 3 to 4 Made for Thises or MFTs and a lot of adrenalines and things like that. It is extremely common, and just to back up how common it is, I can show you guys here. Looking here, we can see the most seen survivor builds. We have Made for This, Windows, Resilience, and Hope. Which sits at a 1.65%, which is pretty substantial, right? This is more common than the most seen killer build right now, which is Alien's perks, because people are adepting Alien. And then the second we have MFT Windows Adrenaline Resilience. The third we have MFT Windows Dead Hard Resilience, and the third we have Ripley's Adept. And then in fourth, we have Made for This Dead Hard Resilience. And then we have Windows Life Adrenaline Resilience. And then we have MFT Adrenaline. And you really see a pattern now. Wow. You know, what is the one thing that is very common? And look at that, even going all the way down here. It is staggering. It is staggering how often, and even in the low MMR, low to mid MMR, you are starting to see it now. You are really starting to see it for a lot of the killers that I play, for example, or a lot of the killers that I don't play. I'm starting to see it a lot. So it is extremely common, not just in high MMR. Just about everybody who plays DBD knows the value of this perk. It is really strong. And then we look at the killer builds, and this is where you see a massive amount of variety. In the top 1%, we have the Alien Adept, and then at 0.39%, we have Pain Res, Lethal Pursuer, Barbecue, Pop Goes the Weasel. And then in third place here, we have Pain Res, Lethal, Barbecue, Shadowborn. We have Eruption, Discordance, Pop Goes the Weasel, Tinkerer. Again, pretty good build. Generally speaking, there is quite a bit of variety going on. And you can even look over here. Right now, Windows of Opportunity is the most used survivor perk. People have been talking about nerfing that, whatever, but I want to talk about specifically the Made for This meta that's currently going on. And some of you might be saying, well, wait a minute, Blue Dream, you're a killer main. You are a killer main, so you can't really speak about this. Okay, listen here, you motherfucker. All right, listen here. So if you actually pull up my DBD stats, you can clearly see that I have quite a bit of experience in Survivor as well as Killer. I have like 3K hours in Pyramid Head, but I also, a lot of those hours are also in Survivor. I genuinely like playing Survivor. Back when I first started playing on console, I was actually a Survivor main. I do have quite a bit of experience in Survivor. I'm not going to be speaking about this as just a salty killer main. I am looking at this objectively. You can see here, Survivor games played with a full loadout, 1,516. Killer games played with a full loadout, 1,556. So that's pretty split down the middle, even amount of hours between killer and survivor. You can see I'm Eerie grade survivor. I'm also Eerie grade killer. And you can just compare these stats. I have a lot of experience in survivor. Regarding MFT, getting 3% movement speed for doing absolutely nothing on its own, I think that Made for This is relatively fine. It's okay. It's not great. The endurance part, I think that the cooldown of that should be maybe less than 10 seconds. Because right now, the counterplay for Made for This, if a survivor just picks up somebody else, heals somebody else, and then body blocks you, right now the counter for that is to literally just stand still and wait 10 seconds for their endurance to go away. That's the counter. And well, you can hit them, but they're going to get a speed boost. I think the cooldown could be changed, but that's not too big of a problem. The biggest issue with Made for This right now is that there's a lot of low mobility killers who really suffer from a full lobby of MFT, and they just hold W, and they're being granted so much extra distance because of this. It has gotten to the point, especially with the buckle up for the people combo that they've also introduced, for a lot of the lower tier killers, it is actually unplayable, especially because this meta is existing in lower to mid MMR. I tried to do a Freddy Adept recently, and I just couldn't, because there was MFT in the lobby and I couldn't catch up to survivors. When I did, they're just able to drop pallets and just continue moving. And as an M1 killer, like it's just really punishing, and there's just not a lot that you can do in the current meta. Even with perks, like there are things right now that they did introduce with Alien, like Rapid Brutality, but you have to forego Bloodlust for that. 20 seconds of 5% haste, but that doesn't make the difference if they can just get to a pallet and drop it. My issue with the current meta is that it is absolutely punishing for the lower tier killers. It is literally unplayable for a lot of these guys. I love playing Ghostface. I love playing certain M1 killers and stuff, but right now it is just too much. Like it's just too much. I've been trying to adapt my killers, and it has just been absolutely brutal. Adapt these killers, especially with zero slowdown, take a lot longer to catch up to these survivors. And then when you do, oh, there's another survivor there. Oh, guess what? They ran up, they pressed E, and now you have to wait 10 whole seconds, of which they will make it to a pallet and then drop it, and then they just get free distance, and you're being punished just because you went for that down. It's been made clear time and time again that the devs are more so survivor mains, and that's fine. That's completely fine. But I just wish that they would listen more to the killer players when it comes to things like this. And the devs have said that they're not going to do anything about Made for This stacking with Hope, which I think is absolutely insane. If you've watched certain videos, it takes a normal movement speed killer like 6 times to catch up to a survivor, 6 times around the main building of Ormond, just to catch up to them. 6 times. Or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think that Made for This and Hope, I think that these things would be fine if these lower tier killers did not exist in the game altogether. This would be totally fine. But it's not the case. I follow a lot of killer mains who play these lower tier killers, like Pig, like Myers, like Trapper. And it's becoming too much. Like, it's becoming too much. And I just feel so bad. Like, me as a Pyramid Head main, it's not too big of a deal with MFT, because all it is for Pyramid Head, mainly speaking, is just adjusting my shots, right? Like with MFT, it's just the fact that they move that little bit faster. I just have to like aim, lead my shot a little bit more, or like things like that. So it's not really so bad for Pyramid Head, but for damn near every single killer existing in like the low B, C, and D tier, it is getting to the point where it's literally unplayable. And if you're in mid to high MMR, it's every single game you're going to be going up against this. And me personally, I have absolutely been kind of refusing to play a lot of these killers like Pig, like Freddy, like Trapper. It's getting to the point where something's got to give, okay? Something has to give. And I think, in my honest opinion, that if these things aren't going to get reworked, if these things aren't going to get nerfed, then something that needs to happen is that these lower tier killers need to be buffed. They need to be buffed. Like, I think like Myers and Trapper and Freddy and Pig, these killers should just acquire bloodlust faster, at a much faster rate than normal killers. It is just so painful. It is just so painful playing these guys. And if you look on YouTube, you can clearly see that a lot of creators are talking about this, and these aren't just killer mains that are talking about this. These are survivor players as well. Now, granted, I don't think there's anything wrong with running it. Like, if you run Made for This in Hope, like, that's totally fine. Like, this is a really strong asset that exists in the game, so why not run it? It's there, it'll help you win games. Sure, like, that's totally fine. My problem is with the devs and the fact that they don't understand that this is way too punishing, and especially with the old vault buff. Thankfully that was reverted. It was damn near unplayable. It was damn near unplayable. And especially considering when you have killers in the game like Huntress and Trickster who have a slower movement speed, with Hope and MFT, survivors can actually move faster. And especially like with things like Boone Dark Theory and things like that. But if you look on YouTube, there is a lot of creators talking about this, and there's a lot of creators, and just about every single like killer main that I've ever met, like they're getting tired, man. They're getting tired. So Otstarva made a couple suggestions on how we could fix MFT and Hope to make it a little bit more fair for the lower tier killers, and I think that was a really good idea that he had. So just make it so it doesn't stack with Hope. Make it so it doesn't stack with Hope, and what they could do is just reduce the cooldown of the endurance, and I think that they should do this for both MFT and Buckle Up. I really don't think that Buckle Up should work for the people. I really don't think it should. I believe that the cooldown of endurance should be reduced for that as well. Like, especially like most killers will just instinctively swing, but you shouldn't be punished. You shouldn't be punished by having to wait 10 whole seconds when you clearly see somebody come up for the people. You know they have endurance, but you just have to wait a whole 10 seconds. That's the counterplay, is just chasing them for a whole 10 seconds. Like, that's a little ridiculous, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that that's something that they could do. I also think that maybe earning that movement speed a little bit would be good, like completing a generator and then you get that movement speed until you get hooked, and then you have to complete a generator again. Like, similar to like Dead Hard or something like that. Like, you have to get hooked, or just something like just getting movement speed because you got injured is just a little bit crazy to me. I really don't understand why this is a thing. And I think that if none of these things are going to be reworked, if none of these things are going to be changed, then we really need to start buffing some of these lower tier killers who can't keep up in the current meta. Giving these lower tier killers faster bloodlust, things like that, you know, maybe some base kit, like Deadlock or just something, because it is damn near unplayable for these lower tier killers. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with running these perks. Obviously, they're really strong. If you run it, that's totally fine. I run Made for This on most of my survivor builds right now because it's really good. It's really good. But that's not my problem is not with the players. My problem is with the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I really think that these things should be relooked. Something's gotta give. Something's gotta give. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. I had to make this video because it's brutal right now. It's really brutal right now for a lot of killers. But let me know what you think down in the comments. What do you think they could do with MFT? Any changes? Should they change it at all? Let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Check me out on Twitch, by the way. Have a good one. Peace.